Right, Ashley. Well, when you sat the paper one back in November, you scored 48. So, I mean, that was by far the weakest of the two papers that you sat. You need to get your paper one up into the 60s, and that's hopefully what we'll do over the next couple of months. But let's see how you've coped with this first effort of the new year. 46 and 60, no, 60 is not in the list, and the difference of those aren't that, and similarly those are wrong as well, so you've only got one there. You have to choose the numbers from the list. Sorry, you have done that. 60 is there, but 46 and 60 don't have a difference. If you take them away, you don't get 23. If you multiply 60 and 3, you don't get 63, and you need two numbers there. 60 is one of the numbers, but you actually need to say that you've got to divide by 4. So of those 4 marks, you're only going to get 1. That's right, and that is right for the 2 marks as well. That is a rectangle. That's not a rhombus. A rhombus is a square that's been sort of squashed on its side. That's a rhombus. This is a trapezium. That is a pentagon. 2, 4, 6 for the page. Okay, make sure you use a pencil when you're doing this in the real thing. You haven't answered the question where they've asked you to complete that column. So even though you haven't answered the question, so you're going to lose a mark for that. Apart from that, your graph is good. You've labelled both axes. The labelling on the columns are in the centre of the columns, so you'll get your 3 marks for that, but make sure you use a pencil. That's 250 and that's 45. Good. 4, 7 for the page. That's good. That's right, that's wrong. That 1 goes into, 5 goes into 5 once and into 25 5 times. The other one is 7 over 28. So you don't get those marks. Yes, that's what you've got to work out, but you haven't actually done it. Now, without a calculator, it's easier to work with that as a fraction, which would be a quarter of 500. So you would half it and half it again. You'd also need to work out what value that comes to and then compare. So again, there's not enough work there to justify a mark. That's correct, so is that. Well done. And so is that. So total for the page 3, 5, 7. Okay, with this question, you need to show what you think the actual height of the car is, and we mean the actual height there in real life, not by what it is on the page. So it isn't going to be 2 centimeters. So that's wrong. Then using your estimate, I'm seeing that you're trying to see how many of those fit in, except you're going up in centimeters rather than in chunks of the car. So that method's not right either. Now if you take a look at the video clip of my solutions and see how I've worked that out, because that comes up very often, and I'm surprised, coming from the foundation tier, that you aren't able to cope with that yet. Okay, that's correct. So that's 2 marks for the median. The range is 51 take away 45, but that isn't 14, it's 6, so you don't get that mark. R, P and Q are correct. Well done. 3, 5 for the page. $12 is right, as is 215. Good 6 marks there. 90 add 29 is 119. Then you've got to do 119 from 180, which isn't 59, it is in fact 61. So it's your maths that's gone wrong there rather than anything else. 7 for the page. Okay, so they add up to 300. 60 is that angle in there, because the angles inside the quadrilateral must add up to 360. So that is your 60, and then you need to take it away from 180 to work that out. So you haven't done enough maths there to get any marks. With this one, reflect given triangle in the y-axis. That means they want your y-axis to act like a mirror, and then you need to work out where those points are going to be on the other side of the mirror. You need to get yourself a sensible method for doing long multiplication. You haven't got one. You're in all sorts of trouble there. Take a look at the way that I do it on the video clip and see if you can get used to doing that way. That seems to be the most popular way students are getting to grips with. Those are both wrong. Again, take a look at the video clip to see how I do that. This is not right either, and again you need to make sure you know how to deal with powers. So watch what I do. Basically it's 2 if it's to the power of 3. That means it isn't 2 times 3, it's 2 times itself 3 times. So you got 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, and then 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. So then you've got to do 8 times 9. And with this one, it's not a multiply, it's a subtract. So that requires a completely different way of working with fractions. Again, take a look at the video clip. We'll be doing practicing those in class as well. So that wasn't a very good page for you. That's correct. And so is that. We'll be practicing pie charts, but by all means go and have a look on the video. That's good. That's wrong. 1 for that. Giving you a total of 6, 13, 20, 25, 32, 36, 37 out of 100. Okay, so that's worse than you were last November, but obviously we've had 2 months where you haven't been concentrating on these papers. You're 2 or 3 marks off an E, and you're just under 20 marks off a C. So there's work to be done, Ashley, but that's going to give us a good baseline for you to build on.